Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. I'm, of course, Gregor Guy, joined here by Casey. He's thinking already.
Yeah.
I like it. And as a special treat for everyone out there, we are joined by our second guest of the year, actually. This here is my mom. So you want to say hello?
Hello, and happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there.
Well, this one will actually come out Sunday, so.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's still okay to say.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, we will be presenting our next iteration of Banghead Financial. So, what's been going on this week, you might ask? Relatively slow week. Let me also start off by making a clarification. I misspoke in last week's financial episode. I think I said a spot ETF needs to be paid out in that product. I was wrong. I meant to say that a spot ETF has to hold that product by the how much is in the fund. They have to be able to cover that. So they actually have to, like a Bitcoin ETF, you would have to hold however much is in the fund in Bitcoin.
So
it's like a physically backed.
Did a viewer point
fund.
this out, or did?
No, I watched it and I realized that I just misspoke. So I wanted to clarify that right off the bat. So what's been happening this week? Now we'll move into news. Jerome Powell from the Fed has come out earlier in the week and basically teased the 0.5%, or it's also referred to as 50 basis points of the interest rates being increased here, probably in the month of May, I believe they're assuming, or I will assume anyway. Now, this leads me to this question, first of all. Are they just going to say that they are, probably going to do this and then once again do another 0.25 or 25 basis points increase as they have been doing for, the first couple months of this year?
I mean, I don't know if that's a question that we could really answer. I mean, the only people that would know that would be them. But I think.
Yeah, but I mean that's more or less in line with their narratives they put out. Like this could be something we're doing, but then when it comes time to actually do it, which in the long run, in my opinion, would help things.
I think a lot of things, especially even in business, that you put something out there into the ether, and then you see what kind of reaction that you get from it. That way you have an idea of whether or not you're going to get a lot of resistance, or if people wouldn't mind it so much, or what other people would think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I hadn't thought about it like that, but as soon as you said it, I was like, ooh, yeah, you know what? Probably accurate. Either way, I mean, they got to do something to get this inflation under hand, in my opinion. Next thing we'll talk about, Elon Musk. Man, love that guy. Elon, reach out. He has came up with the funding to, cover that, what was it, like $46.5 billion bid for Twitter. And, followed all the paperwork and everything, so that table is legit. That offer is legit on the table. Mm-hmm. So now it's going to become whether or not Twitter accept it and the legal consequences that could come from either accepting it or not accepting it. Now, I did do a little bit of research. Elon is putting up $21 billion of his own money. And Morgan Stanley is coming in with $13 billion to assist in this purchase. So
I think it's a win-win for both Morgan Stanley and Elon. Well, I don't know about Morgan Stanley, but I definitely know it's a win-win for Elon Musk. Because regardless of what he does, if they allow him to buy Twitter, which is actually probably the worst thing for Elon Musk, but the best thing for the people of the country. because I think he would make more money if he just ended up selling off his shares. But it's not about money for him. It's about trying to affect the actual change in the
way human beings communicate,
right.
Yeah.
or
Right. And,
lack thereof.
and and I think that Elon's vision of the way people should communicate is better aligned with my own, where this is the United States of America. We have the First Amendment here. We all have freedom of speech. I know there is definitely lines that you cannot and should not cross.
Mm-hmm. I always refer to it as free speech within reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the biggest issue with Twitter and most social media is that there's a lot of political suppression in political speech.
And also, as a super sneak peek for everyone for what will be coming up this week on the Bangcast, not the one we're recording, but the one we are releasing this upcoming week. We did a deep dive into who actually owns Twitter.
Right.
So stay tuned for that. Realistically, I don't know what you do with your Twitter here. Yeah, I mean they are kind of facing the potential for lawsuits if they don't accept this.
I don't think I don't think technically Twitter is the one. I mean, Twitter is just the company. I don't think it has anything to do with
the board of directors.
Right.
That's
and also I watched the other day. I think I saw on Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar that some of the people on the board hold 0% of stock in Twitter.
I heard something like that too, which is insane to me. So I mean, are they proxy for one of these other companies that we will talk about in this upcoming week?
More than likely.
But anyway, there you go. Just a little tease for all the viewers out there. The only other thing realistically going on here this week, and I'm sure you're going to have an opinion on this one. In Florida, they have voted to remove Disney's special exemption, which I believe is a relatively hefty tax break. As long as I heard some crazy stuff like if they wanted to, they could build their own nuclear reactor. I don't know how true any of that is, but
the deal was that basically Disney was self-governing.
Yes, yeah. Self-governing. I do remember hearing that multiple times.
Where Disney basically had their own police force. They had their own. Everything. I mean, now the big
self-sufficient.
Yeah, they had complete control over the area that they had, and that is no longer the case. Now, if something illegal happens within Disney, regular police. Or Orlando police, state police can go right into Disney, but that's not the biggest thing. Was I think the tax break really?
Yeah. I mean, it was something like ridiculous.
So now Disney has to pay their fair share. What do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, just like any other corporation, they will skate by with paying the bare minimum.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Of course.
The biggest. I also heard that they weren't that. Disney didn't have to be within the building codes of Florida. So
I vaguely remember hearing something like that too. Like they, were responsible for their own,
So technically, the buildings there are grandfathered in.
Right.
But if they want to rebuild or remodel something, which
right,
is something that they always do,
they would actually have to apply for a permit.
right? Oh, that's fun. Applying for permits.
I'd ask.
I know that.
I'd ask you this: do you think that they would consider possibly, pulling up, their stakes and getting out of Florida with, losing this, exemption?
It depends. They're gonna have to look at all the aspects of it and then make a final decision. But it might be beneficial to pull out and go somewhere else.
All right.
You have to think about how much they've invested in the building the things
Right,
that they have
the
there.
infrastructure,
Yes,
you know,
but
the
they're
facility
gonna
that
pay
they have.
property taxes
And-
and everything
and-
else in regards to all, each and everything.
Well, I mean, they'll have to pay property taxes now.
Yeah.
They had a special exemption. I'm sure that they weren't probably.
And are they going to find another state to be able to
To
be
do
able
that?
to build?
I've already heard that Colorado has already invited them.
All right, move your
But-
crap to float, Colorado.
But at the same point in time, how much would it cost to
super
move
close.
Right.
Yes.
all that? Yeah, I
Like
mean, that's.
said, you have to outweigh the pros and cons.
So anyway, that's pretty much what's going on here this week in the financial world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm of course Greg Guy, joined here by Casey and Mom. Thank you for sitting in on this. Everyone out there watching, enjoy the rest of your day.